Alrighty, for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to do something called completing the square. This is 5-1 in our notes, so you know. Alright, so completing the square is a way to rewrite a quadratic so it looks like it's in vertex form. Okay. Vertex form, now it has many forms of it, and this is the one that I use. Vertex forms for me is y equals x plus, actually I'll do it the easier way, x minus h squared plus k, where the vertex is k, or sorry, hk. Okay. You should remember that these are like the shifts. This is telling it to move it right or left. Remember, negative is to the right, positive is to the left, and k is up or down. That's why it's a little backwards there. Right? So we're going to do a thing so it looks like this form, something like x plus 2 squared plus 7 or something like that. It's used in two methods. One, putting it into this form right here, and two, to actually solve quadratics. Now, solving the quadratics, we're going to do it through a method, okay, right here, that we're provided by. You can use the book to help, okay? And to do it, all you gotta do is you have to be in standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c. They put minus c, but plus c works too. Well, if it's a minus c, it gives you an imaginary, that's why. Right? Also, a has to be 1, right? So the first step is you're going to isolate the x terms on one side. So you're going to move all your constants over. If you got y's even, you move that over too, so they're on the other side. We're then going to add half the square of 1/2 the coefficient of x. Here's the deal. Whatever b is, cut it in half, then square that number. That's the missing part. Okay? That's the one that's going to make it a perfect square. So you're going to then add that number to both sides of your equation. After that, you're going to solve. The only catch is the term for the first one, it should be just x squared. If it is int, you're going to have to factor out that number out of all terms, okay? So, let's see if we can solve. Right? So right here, the first step I'm going to do is I'm going to move the 2 over. Oh, not equal to 0, but I'm going to add 2 to both sides. Okay. So now I'm going to take a look at the b term. I'm going to do half of the b term. Half of negative 2 is negative 1, then squared, which is 1. So x squared minus 2x, that's the missing thing that's going to make it a perfect square. So plus 1. It's always going to be positive, so you know. Well, this is 2 plus 1. The idea is you're going to add it here, but you got to add it here. You got to keep the balance, right? So this that we just made will factor to x minus 1, but also x minus 1. So it's squared, and that equals 3. Right? If we want to solve now, all we got to do is take the square root of both sides to get rid of the square. X minus 1 equals, you took a square root, you only plus and minus. Then you're going to add 1. So x equals 1 plus minus the square root of 3. And that's our final solution. All right, over here, same idea. X squared plus 2x equals 5. Move the 5 over by adding 5. After that, you take half of 2, because that's half of the b term. 1. Square it. 1 squared is 1. X squared plus 2x. I'm going to add 1. That's my extra piece. Well, if I add 1 there, got to keep the balance and add 1 there. So this is 6. And this then will factor. Well, we already kind of did it. It's x plus 1 squared. To solve now, just take the square root of both sides. X plus 1 equals plus minus the square root of 6. And subtract 1. And we get x equals negative 1 plus minus the square root of 6. I wrote it backwards, okay? So you get a plus minus the square root of 6. Or minus 1 as well, okay? But this is the proper form, okay? If I have numbers in front of it, it makes it a little harder. All right. So if we take a look at this one, we have to take the 2 out of it. So if we factor a 2 out, it's just x squared plus 6x plus 3 halves. You divide it all by 2, and then we're going to equal 0. All right. If we do this, all we have to do is pretend like this 2 doesn't exist. All right. We're just going to look at this piece right here. So we now carry the 2 along. And I move the 3 halves over. We do completing the square on this. Half is 6. So that's the b term. 3. Square it. 9. So that's the missing number we need. So we're going to add 9 to there. We have plus 9 there. There's still a 2 out there. All right. 2 times this thing right here factors. It's x plus 3 squared. Hint, it's always half the b term when it factors. So if it's 6, it's 3. If it's negative 6, it'd be negative 3. Equals 7.5. 9 plus negative 1 half. 1 and a half is 7.5. Well, now we can put the 2 back in. Now we're just going to put the 2 in front here and here. We're going to distribute it. We don't have to multiply it back in, because then we'd have to FOIL it in order of operations, and we don't want to do that. That would defeat the purpose of what we were trying to do. All right, but it gives you 15. Now, here's where it gets a little nasty. People, we will see that all we're going to do is divide by 2 again, which undoes it, okay? X plus 3 squared equals 15 over 2. Instead 7.5, but then I'm going to take the square root of it. X plus 3 equals plus minus the square root of 15 over 2. Then I'm going to subtract 3 to get rid of it. However, I'm going to tell you that's not the right answer, because that's the square root of 15 over the square root of 2, and that's not rationalized. So we have to rationalize this. So times the square root of 2 over square root of 2, which is the square root of 30 over 2 minus 3, and this is still plus minus. All right. Some people might get this as a common denominator, make it 6, so you might see negative 6 plus minus square root of 30 over 2, but both are right. Okay. A lot harder. Okay. When there's coefficients, it makes it tougher. All right. The last one I have, we got a 4. Got to factor the 4 out. X squared minus 5x plus 9 fourths equals 0. All right, we can deal. 4 times x squared minus 5x equals negative 9 fourths. We then have to half 5, 2.5, and square it. All right, that is 6.25. So 4 times x squared minus 5x plus 6.25 equals, this is negative 2.25 plus 6.25. That was a convenient factor, that's why I did that. All right, this factors. Now people are like, oh, I don't know what it factors to. That's actually pretty easy. It's just half of the b term, so x minus 2.5 quantity squared equals, over here, just 4. All right, so at this point, for solving it, all we got to do is write it as 4 times x minus 2.5 squared equals 4 times 4, which is 16, right? So I'm just going to do that one step. Divide by 4 to solve it. Yeah, notice how it just undoes it. The reason I do it is because if we put it in vertex form, we're going to have to put that 4 back, okay? Take the square root of it. X minus 2.5 equals plus minus the square root of 4. Oh, that's plus minus 2. Hey, cool. Well, then we're going to add 2.5. And I get x equals 2.5 plus minus 2. Right, people love to leave it there. It's lazy. You know what 2.5 plus 2 is? It's 4.5. 2.5 minus 2 is 0.5. So x equals 4.5 and 0.5, or 1/2. Okay, so you can see you can do that. Now, one of the most useful ways we're going to use this is if we have something like this, so we want to change our forms. Okay, this right here is a circle. X squared plus y squared plus 3x minus 4y minus 14 equals 0. This is a circle. This is if you multiply out our form of the center vertex form, center radius form. Remember, our center radius form is this. Plus y minus k squared equals r squared. This form is useful. It tells us the center is hk and the radius is r. This doesn't tell us that. If I could change that into that form, it would be awesome. And we can. Okay, that's the advantage of completing the square. Okay, all you have to do is group all the x's together and all the y's together. Get all the constants over there to the other side. and then treat it like completing the square. If I were to complete the square, okay, we're only going to complete the square if I just had that piece right there. That's all I have to look at. Well, just look at it. Half of 4, 2. Square it, you get 4. So y squared minus 4y, I'm going to add 4 here. Well, got to add 4 to that side too. All right. This right here then turns into, or not x, remember we're dealing with y's, y minus 2 squared equals 18. Yay, we got half it. It looks like that piece. Well, we still got x squared plus 3x still. Guess what we're going to do? Complete the square here. X squared plus 3x. Half of 3, 1.5. 1.5 squared plus 2.25. That's what we add here. So we're going to add 2.25 here. Now we still have this hanging around. It's already done, so we don't have to worry about it. 20.25. And this factors to x, half of this term, plus 1.5 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 20.25. And what's nice is now we can tell the center is just the opposite of that, negative 1.5. Oops. Negative 1.5, comma 2, and its radius is the square root of 20.25, which is actually just 4.5. Okay, so you can see it's useful for that. It's also useful for the vertex form. So it's the same thing as if it was just a simple little quadratic. Okay, so there's that little top with completing the square and how to solve it. Remember, the quadratic equation will solve it for you, but we do that next time. All right, good luck studying. Talk to you later.